Good morning, Bill.
Good morning, Bill.
How are you, Bill? How are you?
I'm pretty good. How about you this morning?
I am doing okay. I am fixing one thing real quick. There we go. Good. Got up, went for a walk, did my normal routine, and now jacked up and ready for Thursday.
That's right.
I worked on that the whole walk.
Or you?
No.
Yeah, it's Thursday. I slept in today.
Did you really?
Yeah. I just I think I got hit by some allergy type stuff or something because my head's just been heavy and floating all week at the same time. So
you sound a little congested, honestly. And today, for some reason, this is so weird. Your nose looks like it's pointing in this direction. This direction.
That's every day. Yeah.
Is that every day?
Oh, yeah. I see that every day on camera. I'm like, there you go.
Okay. Yeah.
Hey, where are you going, man? Camera's over here.
There was this guy who was part of the Kung Fu school for a while, and he had a bit of a lazy eye. And one day we were all hanging out after class, and this guy was saying something, and another one of my friends from the school was like, "Man, I'm sorry, dude. Can you help me out? Like, which one do I look at here? Because I don't want to be, mean about it." And the guy's like, "Oh, don't worry about it. I'm just multitasking." I was like, "Man, I love that. Like, you can just own it and make a comment, and move on.
Laugh about yourself. Well,
yeah,
it's a problem. You're holding on too tight.
Way too tight. Way too tight. It's crazy.
Yeah, for sure.
How did the writing go yesterday?
Pretty good. I got some commentary back, so I'm gonna be working on some edits on my PDF, and then the other stuff went well. The emails kind of, some days are easier than others. I'm not sure why that is. I can just cruise. I think it's probably just a writing thing as well, because some days you get in the flow and you just cruise through a section of stuff, and you're all of a sudden you turn back and you're done. So it was pretty easy yesterday. How about you?
Yesterday was good. Let me look at the calendar. It was a bit of a blur. Since the course is done and up and people are looking at it and the book is in the next step of the process, I kind of don't have like a big project. So I'm kind of just going through and cleaning up a bunch of stuff and, taking some time for thoughtful digression. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Just trying to make sure that like everything is as tight as it could be, right? Because you start stuff, you put it down, right? You come back to it and all of that stuff. And there's so many different ways to get to business, and people are talking about this stuff over here. And then, so I've got lots of starts and stops. So this is a time to kind of go in and dig in to figure this out. And I reached out to a buddy of mine who's a photographer last night, because he's been doing these kind of like he'll go to Austin and just book like these like drive-by kind of like portrait things, right? So you go out to your porch, he comes by, he takes photos of you and stuff like this. And super cool guy. And I reached out and was like, "Hey, I would love to have you come over and shoot, because I need some new photos. We've got the book coming out and stuff, and I'd be super excited to talk to you about it." And he was like, "Man, I would be honored." And it was just really cool. And when I showed Melissa this guy's work of like the other photos he's done in the same series, she was also jacked. She was like, "Oh, I think this guy's going to be able to bring out like this cool side of you," right? And we've had headshots before, and like I think that they're good, but I'm excited to see and work with somebody different to kind of see their process and what they prioritize and how they think about it and stuff.
Yeah, the lens that they look through is cool. Yeah.
Good morning, Mike.
What's going on, man? How are you?
This was my question too, Mike. Right? He hops on here like it's the 4th of July, right? Short sleeve shirt. I'm over here in a Jordan shirt with like a hoodie, a fully weather appropriate, and I'm just out here by myself.
Left everyone hanging out to dry. I apologize.
That being said, it was like 77 degrees here yesterday, which is just dumb.
Insane.
Just dumb.
I took my daughter to the skate park, the Roanoke skate park up here.
Cool.
She's learning how to skateboard, and she asked to go. And I was like, oh, yeah, let's do that. And yeah, it was hot.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
What'd she do?
No, it's not hot. Oh, she's brand new. Like, so she's just doing that, like just learning to jump the board, just ollie, like. So it was very intimidating. But she was like, "I'm here. This is cool. Like, I'll skate around the park." Like.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what it was.
So much of that is just getting used to, like surrender. You know what I'm saying? Because like the board has got wheels, right? And there's so much that you can do, but there's so much that you can't, right? And so it's interesting, right? Because Alice doesn't really have a whole lot of like skateboarding experience. We have one, and she's ridden it a few times and stuff, but she doesn't ever really like put in the work. And it's so crazy how much we like if you skate for a while and stuff like this, then you can just step back on a skateboard and you're not as good as you were, but your like sea legs are under you and stuff. And it's just funny that like we see other people do it and we're like, why can't you figure this out? This isn't that hard,
Yeah. I think you said surrender. I was thinking like it's just like an exercise and letting go. So same idea, right? It's like you just understand that, you move your body, the board does the work. And there's a ton of just, I don't know how this is going to go sort of moment. Yeah. I'm just going to put myself out there. Which is a pretty good metaphor for life. I'm trying not to turn into Mr. Rogers when she's on the skateboard, but like, no. Also, when you meet a boy.
I never thought about it as like a surrender like kind of process until we're talking about it just right now, right? But because like I used to think about it as just like a reps thing, but like with the reps comes a surrender, right? So that way you can go try stuff, right? Yeah.
Mike says it's 35. That's the crazy thing here.
Yeah.
It was 36 yesterday morning here, and then it was 77 in the afternoon.
Yes.
So it's insane.
There's no real way to plan your wardrobe here, Mike. It's just, right? The line here is if you don't like the weather in Texas, wait 3 hours. It'll be different. And that's how it is. Like literally I'm walking in the morning with like 2 jackets and gloves on. And then in the afternoon, I'm like, why am I wearing pants when I could be wearing shorts?
Yeah, I was t-shirts and shorts yesterday afternoon, and it was a hoodie and, pants and leggings to jog yesterday morning. So.
Yeah. How's the jogging going? Are you enjoying it?
No, I hate it, but I always have. I've always been one of those people that I love to run if it's in a sport. Like I will run.
Okay.
Run as long as I'm playing a sport. But if you just go ask me just to run a distance, I'm like, So I kind of do more of a walk jog. So because I love to walk. Yeah, actually, I really, really love to walk, and then I'll spend 400 meters, 800 meters running, and then go back to the walk.
Yeah,
so that's been my in between.
Just not stupid hot is what Mike. Where are you at, Mike? I forget.
Yeah, well, we do get stupid hot in Texas.
Yeah, it does get stupid hot here, and it's humid, which
can be.
It's weird, right? Because it adds, it kind of holds. It holds the heat, it holds the cold, right? Like it holds whatever extreme you're dealing in. So it's a very odd thing.
It is.
Man, so a couple of weeks ago, I think I talked about on here, my friend was trying to sell his house and I said, hey, can I try this as an experiment for you? Yeah. So he is staying with some family here in the neighborhood while he's doing all the stuff in preparation for the move and selling the house and everything. And I walk past his house every morning. And so this morning he has a brand new car. And so I messaged him and I was like, dude, congratulations, man. Did you move the house? And he said, yeah. And I said, man, that's awesome. Right. And remember, he wanted $350 was what he was thinking. He gave me a bit of a discounted price to see if I could move it. And I said, he told me that it actually ended up moving for a little bit less than 300. So
Okay, so you got a little extra.
Yeah, well, less than 300.
Yeah.
So so I thought that was kind of interesting, right? I mean, sometimes you just don't know what you can get until the market actually like tells you what you can get, kind of thing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was interesting. Let's see. Levi is messaging me. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Jake's on it. Thanks, Bill. Yeah, we were like 30 seconds late on launching the live today, and maybe that is an impact on the algorithm. I'm not really sure.
Maybe so. That's weird. Who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even try to keep up with the algos anymore. It's so ridiculous.
The algos, yeah.
The algos are not your friend.
Not your friend. They are not.
Show up, be awesome. That's my formula.
When your content is this hot, it doesn't matter when you do it.
Doesn't matter that everyone forgot you were alive. The content emanates so much heat. People are like, "Holy cow, what is that heat over there? It's like, that must be a fire. Let's go check that out."
So I had a bit of an epiphany last night for you, and I don't know if you want me to talk about it on here or not.
Oh, I don't care.
Okay, cool, perfect. That's what I was hoping to hear. All right. So I think this whole the whole focus of what you do around like your purpose, right, is this kind of, there's some education behind the concept there, right? Because and you'll get this later on when I send you the document later on today, right? Okay. I think that a lot of people have got these huge drives, these huge whys, right? And some of these people are concerned that if they make that a focus in their marketing, it's going to turn it into a gimmick or cheesy thing.
Okay.
Right. Okay. So a really great question is like, hey, how do you market your impact? Mm-hmm. So you create a new thing for the thing that you like to do, right? And like to help people on, right? Impact marketing, right? And impact marketing, hold on, I wrote this down in my journal last night, is broken up of a couple of different components. It is, where to go? Right? You're highlighting company culture, company initiatives, community give back, and other random give backs, right? And so what you do is you essentially teach people how to bring this stuff in, as opposed to just being like, hey, I'm just the guy who's gonna work with like cause-driven like agencies, right? What you do is you give people a framework, right? Because you like frameworks anyway, of like, hey, this is stuff that is important. Like this is more important than picking the brand colors for your logo, because this is like the stuff that people actually care about. You can do all the other stuff later, but start your impact marketing now. Right. And you start like getting on the hill. You talk about your impact marketing, your impact marketing, right? And so then you can just start talking to people very, very effortlessly. Hey, when you're thinking about your marketing, how much of that is going towards like brand awareness, and how much of that is going towards your impact, right? Gotcha. And like you give people a framework so that way they can do this themselves, right? You highlight it as like, hey, this is more important than a lot of the stuff that people think about, because this will actually fuel all the other branding that you're going to do eventually later on anyway. But you're going to have a better glimpse of that when you start with the impacts that you want to do, as opposed to blue means trust. So let's make sure we have blue in the logo, right?
Right.
And so then what you do is you figure out like what the sweet spot is. Probably 40 to 60% of your marketing should be about your impact, right? Like whatever that is, right? Company cultures, company wins, company give backs, right? Community initiatives, all of this stuff like this. And you just start talking to people about this, right? And so then all of your questions are like, here, I'm gonna spitball some of these because I've been writing them down, right? If you're a CMO, do you ever face any struggle with talking to the owner about getting some of the initiatives that the company does front and center in your marketing?
Right.
Because think about it, right? If you're the CMO and you're seeing this stuff, you want to talk about it, but you might be getting pushback from the CEO, who doesn't want to turn it into a gimmick, doesn't want to turn it into a joke, doesn't want to be the next Tom Shoes, doesn't want to get lost in that haze. But it's still a really great conversational point, because it's a great assumptive question. Hey, when you're thinking about this, like, do you get pushback? Oh, well, yeah. Would you like to talk a little bit more about that? About how to highlight this stuff in a way that makes them feel okay, lets you know that you're doing a good job highlighting what the company is like really focused on doing, And then I wrote this line last night that said, helping highlight individuality. Right.
Yeah.
Because each one of these companies, right. And if you're talking about impact, right. Because I was trying to think of a name for this, right. Because one of the 22 rules of marketing, right, is that if you can't be the first person into a category, you create a new category, right. So you're not just like a brand marketer, right. You are trying to help people like showcase their give backs, right. And so then I was playing with words, and I was like legacy, and legacy, in my opinion, is tied way too close to death. And then you already have the impact over attention brand anyway, so it's already there, right? So you just have to start talking to people about like impact marketing and like what's impact marketing. Right. Oh, you don't know what this is? Well, we have it broken down into these categories and stuff like this, and for our clients, this is more important than like your brand colors and your brand standards and stuff, because this actually informs all of that.
Yeah. Totally. No, I agree with all of that, because the idea for me is I want to help people understand that they can highlight impact as a way to grow the business, not just something that they do as part of company culture so that everyone feels like they work for a good company. Like it actually becomes part of what drives the growth of the company.
Absolutely.
So,
right.
I love that.
So yeah, man, I don't know if I'm onto something here, or if this is like stuff you've already thought about, and it's like, oh, come on, John,
No, yes and yes. Like, yes, you're onto something, because the way that you phrase that stuff is super important. That's what I'm trying to get to, is how do I take that concept and turn it into top of funnel questions that get people thinking and talking. Part I have thought about is absolutely, that's what I want to do, is I want to spend my time talking about that instead of, oh, do you want to market? Oh, do you want a brand? Oh, you want, and I'm really trying to become more of a business coach that has a marketing specialty, and on wall stuff. So I'm really trying to help people grow, not just market. So you're going down the right path, I think. I can't wait to see what you got. Yep.
Awesome.
So for those of you who didn't know, we're John's trying to help me with top funnel sales, just like he does over in Sales Lab and different places. Or this is probably more like your hired stuff, right? Where you're actually trying to help people create funnels, or not to call it a funnel, but a sales process and outreach for top of funnel stuff.
Well, so the way that I think about it whenever I'm working with clients, right, is that pain is a bigger motivator than pleasure, right? And so the features and benefits that all the marketers want to talk about over here, like this is all well and good, but when it's time to the conversation, you need to be able to tie their pain points, their gaps, their perceived, gaps to these features and benefits, right? Because if somebody doesn't see any value in the benefit of the feature, then you're just wasting your breath, because you're making it about you and not about the person you're actually talking to. So when we can hop into those conversations, right, and draw that stuff out of them, we figure out what is important to them. So therefore, in our positioning and in our conversations, and really even in our scope development and like contract work, we can figure out like, oh, this is what you really need, this is what you see value in, let's make sure that this is the focus. And so a lot of what I do whenever I am building a process for people is I start with those big questions, right? Those big questions that are going to get people thinking and maybe acknowledging, oh, I'm not doing that the right way, right? And it's all of this stuff, right? Because the other stuff I've been thinking about is, right, podcast interview questions, right? Hey, when you're thinking about marketing around your causes and stuff, do you have any concerns that you're just going to get lost in the shuffle or be labeled another wannabe Tom Shoes?
Yeah.
That's the jam right there. Right. Because then it's like, oh, right. Like you're going to get into a cool conversation from that just because it's a great question. Yep. Right.
Yep. Exactly.
Right? And since you guys have this whole like podcast for prospecting and lead generation, and you get to interview these people, you're going to have even more opportunity than most people that I work with, because like you get to interview and ask these like hard questions, right? And you get to do this stuff on the air, and then later on, hey, Jake, I appreciate you being on the show. On the show, you mentioned you struggle with this. How long has that been going on?
Yeah.
Right. Well, about this long. Okay. What have you been working on to try to like fix that? How does that show up in other categories? How does that show up in your business? Like, what's the impact of that? Blah, blah, blah. Would it make sense to talk a little bit more about this? Boom. Right. Yeah, man.
Exactly. Dude. Love it. I love it.
I'm fired up. Fired up.
Me too.
Ugh, love Thursdays.
That's great. That's the whole jam. It's Thursday.
It's the whole jam. It's the whole jam.
Yeah, Mike. Actually, that's why I wore it, because John's going superstar mode today. So
I was sitting down last night and I was journaling, and I kind of hit this whole thing about like, well, just create a new label for this thing, call it impact, and like I'm just kind of like chuckling and smiling, and I've got my noise canceling headphones on, because like if the TV is on, I can't help but like look at it. It is the most ridiculous thing ever, and so when I'm journaling at night, like I just have to have the headphones on, and so because of that, I'm chuckling and kind of musing louder than I think that I am. So I get done. I'm kind of like, yeah, okay, cool. And I come over and I sit down on the couch, and Melissa was like, "Good session, huh?" And I was, "What?" And she's like, "I hear you over there, like muttering to yourself all excitedly, like some kind of weird, like crazy scientist." And I was like, "Oh, okay, cool, all right."
That's awesome. I love that, and I love that Mel calls you out on it too.
Oh, it's funny because my breathing is different when I journal, right? Because it comes this kind of like very kind of like meditative style breathing, and it's not even purposeful. It just kind of happens whenever I hit these like certain like levels, I guess. Yeah. Really interesting stuff. But she was so a lot of times she'll ask me just based upon like the breathing. Hey, your breathing shifted. Well, how was that? Oh, it was good. I found some stuff. Okay, cool. It's really interesting how it's become this.
More shallow when you're having a tougher session? That'd be interesting.
No, actually, I breathe deeper.
Okay, so you kind of come up because you're hitting more of your conscious side versus where the subconscious would be like a slow deep.
Yeah, so that's where I'm going, right? Okay. Is towards that, like some because like when you look at like the flow states and the meditation stuff, it's all about hitting that theta band, right, of like brainwaves, which is like a level of depth that we have a hard time like staying at because of all the stimuli around us and everything. So when you hit that zone, your breathing can change and stuff like that, because you just have to be in a relaxed state to be able to access those kinds of brain waves, right? Or really great at like your rituals and your warm-ups. That way you can do it whenever you want. And so those two things seem to be kind of tied together, at least for me. Like when I'm really in that kind of creative space, which is kind of difficult for me to get to, my breathing seems to shift, which is interesting to me.
Yeah, that's neat. That's very cool. It's a good observation for yourself to change your mood if you need to, right? Just slow your breathing or speed it up sometimes.
Yep. Absolutely. I mean, it's been really interesting since reading the breath book, how much more mindful, I guess, I am of my breathing and being able to do it. I was talking with someone the other day. I was talking with Levi, actually. So Levi and I were talking about something, and it was kind of heavy, and I felt myself starting to get like just like a little bit worked up, but over nothing, right? I mean, there wasn't anything to be like, irritated, frustrated about, but like I could just feel myself starting to go in that direction. And I was like, all right. And just like having that moment and having that awareness in the moment of like, okay, cool. Like I know where this goes if I don't like stop and take this breath right here. It's endlessly fascinating to me.
Yeah. So we're rewatching the whole Star Wars saga with the cartoons and the animation and the whole thing. We're putting all of it in there. So there's Clone Wars and Mandalorian now and Rebels and all sorts of stuff. We're doing it all in the correct order. And we just started, and so we finished.
When you say correct order, does that mean chronological order? Like, are you going back to like episode 1 with like the midichlorians and all that jazz?
Yeah, Disney's chronological order that they have set up. Yeah. So.
Not true, Levi. Not true. That was all me, sir.
So we were watching the second one last night, Phantom Menace, and so Anakin's finally like not a boy, and he's sitting there fighting with Padme about how to protect the palace, and he has this like right, and he's Hayden Christensen's pretty good at acting like a pretty big baby, getting worked up. So, and so he gets worked up, and you can see him go, "I'm sorry, my apologies, my lady." And like that breath, right? You're like, he's bringing it down. The breath is bringing it down. That's that just made me think of that like right now, because last night I saw it and I laughed because I was thinking about gotta control the breathing. Jedi's have to control the breathing.
It's funny because like in Kung Fu, we would do these reaction drills and they're called triangles, right? And so depending upon your level, you might have one person who's just like coming at you like empty-handed. At the higher levels, you might have like 3 people in there taking turns, right? One person will have a stick, one person will have a knife, and one person will be empty-handed. And what's crazy about it is everybody gets into that circle and there's the anticipation of like, okay, cool, and everybody goes,
Yep.
right. And so then you're holding your breath, right? So it's not mechanically working out well because you need fuel for the body to go do all of this stuff. And so then at the end of it, you're just like gassed. And the hardest thing to do is to just like make sure that you're breathing in those moments, right? Mm-hmm. Because otherwise you're making it worse, right? You're taking this like situation that's not ideal, and when you put all of this stuff like on top of it, right? Anxiety and not breathing and everything else like this, you just feel on the fire, right?
Yep. And Levi's got a comment here. One point, this is the Darth Maul movie, right? And so Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan are chasing him, and they have those red things drop, like these laser shields, and they get by, and Darth Maul and Qui-Gon get almost to the very end, and there's one shield between them. And Qui-Gon sits down and like basically meditates. He goes to his knees, he closes his eyes, and he just breathes. And then you got Obi-Wan like five back with his lightsaber still out going, It's like the master, the student.
Yeah, absolutely. I haven't seen that movie in a very long time, but I do remember that scene. I went and saw it. I was in high school, I think, when that movie came out. I think I was a junior or senior in high school. Yeah, 99. And I went with like a group of friends, and I remember sitting in the theater and being like really blown away by the whole thing because like no one knew what to expect, and there's like all this like bad science in it. And and then I saw that part, and I was like, that is a great representation of the difference between like the person who's like managing their emotions, right, and managing their like emotional investment in this thing, and somebody who is just trying to get the job done.
Right.
So I thought that was interesting.
Good. There's good stuff in there. Yeah, Levi, I agree too. That the better that people are at creating tense moments in movie theaters, you even catch yourself like catching your breath in those moments, like leaning forward in the seat and like, I think the Avenger saga, those last 2 movies in particular were really, really good at that. So,
Alice, we went and saw the first one. And then without Alice, and we came home and told Alice, like, hey, like the ending is pretty heavy. It's not going to stay that way. Do you want to wait and watch both of them together? And she was like, yeah, I want to wait and watch both of them together. And then we'd kind of forgotten about it. So then whenever it came out on like all the streaming stuff, we watched it. And Spider-Man disappeared. And she lost it. She lost it. So that was interesting and funny.
How about Game of Thrones? I mean, Game of Thrones was so good at doing that on episodes. Like they had cliffhangers almost all season for most seasons. It was like, come on.
Yeah. And like you can get fired up about like the nudity and the violence and everything else like that. But like when you're thinking about like suspense and like storytelling and stuff, it's really hard to beat what they did in that show.
Oh yeah. That was really well done.
Mm-hmm. What do you got today, Bill?
Guess what? More writing.
Welcome.
More writing. But I also have one of these sessions today, which I'm super excited about because I haven't done one in probably a month and a half now. Oh, yeah.
Ooh, man.
I get to do positioning.
That's a game changer of a book.
Man. Yeah, I do new client today, and I always love seeing their face when we get to the end of the session. Because
I will tell you that those nuggets that I was talking about earlier about like impact and creating the new thing and stuff would not have happened if I had not read that book. It would not have even been approachable, I don't think.
So good.
Okay, so you're writing and you have a positioning kind of focus session. Okay, great. Anything
and then
else?
I've got a podcast also that I finished 2 podcast recordings this week, and so now I got to go back do intros and do show notes and different things like that. So I got a pretty full day actually. It's pretty Thursday like.
Yeah. All right. I have a session with the Family Law guys right now. I've got Sales Lab at 9 and have some new people coming in there. I'm excited about that. Meeting with the mastermind. a focus session after that. I rescheduled that, or one of these podcast things, and there's like an intro call that I'm assuming to be part of the qualifying for like the sales thing that happens after the thing. We'll see if that's true. I'm helping a friend vet an executive assistant because he just keeps like shortcutting it and not doing a good job. And I was like, man, if you want some help, let me talk to them and let me set the expectations for them about the things that you really like and don't like in someone in this role. So we'll have that. And then I've got a private session that got rescheduled from earlier in the week. So
cool. Busy day.
Yeah. Busy day. Oh, and then podcast episodes tonight at 6. So Throwdown team is getting together to knock out some eps.
Oh.
And yeah, big day. Long day.
Long day. That's right. Well, remember to breathe.
Remember to breathe. Absolutely. Be present and enjoy it. Don't be looking forward towards the end because you missed the good stuff right here in the middle of it.
That's right. That's right.
Thank you, Levi. Thanks, Mike. Not sure why you guys did not get the notification, but we're here every morning. So thanks everybody else, and we'll see y'all tomorrow for the long show.
See y'all.
Bye.